So guys, welcome back to the channel. And like I said in my previous videos, I said I'd do a 3,000 kilometer review on this bike. Now I know a lot of you guys have done a lot more kilometers than that now, but it's basically for people who haven't bought this bike or are thinking of buying this bike, my opinions and my thoughts on the bike so far. Now you'll be well aware, people who follow my channel, that I've got another bike, the Royal Enfield, and during the time we've been using this, doing the 3,000 kilometers, we've also put a fair bit of mileage on that bike as well. So over the 4 months I've had this in a 4-month period, we have got some miles in, biking miles on both bikes. So what are my views and thoughts so far? It's a good bike. It is a really good bike. There's nothing really negative you can say about it. The gearbox has really sort of settled down now at 3,000 kilometers. The fuel economy isn't bad on my particular bike, bearing in mind I have the cases on, and 90% of the time if I'm out riding, I'm riding with my wife, so we've got pillion on the back, so we're carrying a bit of weight. I'm 80 kilos, my wife's about 60, so we've got 140 kilo weight on the bike plus the luggage, so we're carrying a bit of weight. So my thoughts after 4 months of ownership of this bike: am I glad I bought this and got rid of the V-Strom? To be honest, yes, because where I live up in the mountains, the roads are really bad. This handles the roads really well. The suspension is fully adjustable front and back, and it's much nicer and easier to ride than the V-Strom was. People have been asking about build quality. The build quality is fine. It's, from what I can see at the moment and how it's standing up, it needs a good clean now. The wheels are filthy dirty again. The wheels, the gold wheels, are a pain in the backside, to be honest, especially in a dusty environment like I'm in here. They tend to get dusty really quick, so it looks nice when you foam them up, clean them, and then with a couple of trails or mountain trails it dusts up fairly fast. What's it like to ride? Well, it's very easy to ride once you're riding any bike. Once you get it moving, it's fairly easy to ride, but it is an imposing bike. You can see I'm standing behind the bike. I'm 5'10", so that's about 178 centimeters, inside seam of about 31 inches. When I'm riding it solo, I can flat one foot on the ground and I can get the ball of my other foot on the ground. If my wife's on the back with the sag in the suspension, I can get both feet pretty much on the ground. Handles really well. You wouldn't think it would with a 21-inch front wheel. Turns in really well into the corners, holds a good line, it's well planted on the road. The Brembo brakes front and back, really good. They're a bit progressive on the front, so they're not as sharp as other Brembo brakes I've tried in the past, but they work really well. But the added features on this bike, and I've discussed all of them before, so there's no need to go round and round in circles with them. Absolutely amazing, guys, what you get in the package and the price of the bike. Things I've done to the bike, I've put a few bits on you've seen in other videos. We've got the toolbox at the back of the box there. We've got the small bags on the front. We've got the carp you ride. And that's pretty much it. A couple of engine clutch cover guards on it, but yeah, all in all, it's standing up pretty well. What I'll do, I'll get the camera and we'll have a close-up look around, and we'll get the dash on. My fuel economy tends to be around 4.5 litres for 100 kilometres, and that is purely because I'm riding pillion. When I first had it and I was breaking it in, it was around 3.8, 3.6, 3.8, no problem. Still got the ugly deflectors on the front, as you can see, guys, and they're doing a fantastic job at the moment. I'm still waiting for a decent screen. I know Gibby's got them out, and I know a few of you people have done a workaround where you've got another screen bolted over the top, similar to an airflow. And yeah, there are things you can do. When I first got this at the beginning of May, end of April, the luggage options were pretty limited. You would have to go with the Voge or the Lobu option for the luggage. At the moment there are a plethora of different options for the bike. You've got Givey luggage now, and there's other luggage coming out every day for the bike, so things are starting to pop up all over the show. Uncle Wang, I know it's a weird name, he's got a Chinese site that does all sorts of bits and bobs for this bike. You've got everything you can imagine under the sun. He does a bracket and nav bracket to go on the front, all sorts of engine covers, sump guard covers. He's got the luggage that they're doing now, so parts are widely available for this at the moment. So what about the gearbox issues that I had early on? Well, it was a clunky gearbox to start with, and I believe that all the same engined BMWs are the same to a certain extent. The quick shifter is fine to a point. You need to be doing the revs to use the quick shifter proficiently. So as the name suggests, quick shifter, it's if you're going quick. So if you've got it in sports mode and you get up to 5,000 revs, it's smooth as silk going up on a quick shifter. To change down, you want to be below 3,000 revs and it will change down. A bit clunky changing down, but upshifting's fine. Yeah, so there's nothing really negative I can say about the bike. I've still got the original map that came on the bike when I bought it. I haven't been back to the main dealers yet, which is quite a run for me. And to be honest, I haven't even asked if he's got the version 4 map. I think 4.3. I think we're on 4.1 with this. I'm not sure without looking. But I believe the new mapping seems to improve things. But like I said, since I did the throttle tweak on mine, and I occasionally redo that and reset the throttle, it's pretty smooth at low speed and at high speed. There's no jerkiness at all. The only thing I haven't got at the moment without the upgrade is the shifting through modes on the go. And to be honest, it's not something that's bugging me too much till I actually get it in and get a chance to get over to Morthia City. So yeah guys, like I say, I've got the Carpu Ride on the dash, which has been amazing. At the moment with the Carpu Ride unit, I'm actually running Waze navigation, which is absolutely astonishing, guys. It gives you all the breakdowns, all the information you need. It's owned by Google and it uses Google's mapping, I'm sure it does, but it's a more community-based system. You can see it takes a few minutes to kick in. You can probably see this corner, I don't know if you can notice it there, there's a bit of overspray there, and that was one day when I took it off. I dropped it on the floor and it just cracked the corner of the screen glass. Nothing to affect the visible part of the screen, but just a little nick on the corner, and I just put some acrylic paint with a bit of masking tape over there just to stop the glass doing anything. A bit of a pain actually, but there we are, these things happen. So yeah, this is the Waze screen, and it obviously gives you stuff that you've been doing already, and it's really informative as you're coming along. If there's a problem on the road, it shows you there's a problem on the road, etc. And yeah, all in all, it's really good. You can see it's gone off there because the ignition switched itself off after a set timing. Every feature on the bike is working perfect. The cruise control I really like. The only thing is, as has often been said, this you can hear the clicking on the button now, on the indicator button, but it's a weird thing. It's not like other bikes. You do get used to it, but you find yourself looking at the dash all the time to see if the indicator is working. That's the only thing I would say feels a little bit cheap on the bike. The rest of it, all the other switches seem okay. The triple tree at the top's okay, and the keyless ignition. The tank is a pain in the backside taking the key out of the fob if that's the way you go. Ideally get another key cut so you still got your spare key, and put that on the key ring so you don't have to keep faffing around and changing around. But yeah, all in all, superb bike, guys. Goes great off-road, on trail. It's a bit imposing in its weight. You have to be careful if you're stopping this bike and you're on a slight camber either way. Say you're cambering left and your left foot can't get to the ground, you go past a certain tipping point, and it doesn't have to be far on this. Once you get past a certain tipping point, unless you've got legs like Mike Tyson, you're not going to hold the bike up, it's going to go over. Now touch wood, I've not had this bike on the floor yet. I have had other bikes where they've been heavily laden and they've gone over, they've gone past the point of no return, but so far with this one, so far so good. So I can give it an absolute thumbs up, guys, 100% on reliability, on usability. The cat on the bottom, a lot of people are decatting these bikes because it does create a fair bit of heat, this cat on the bottom. Other people are looking at blanking this off so the engine heat doesn't come and escape, but it has to go somewhere. When the fan kicks in, the fan kicks in at the front, and when it gets hot, you do get a bit of engine heat around your legs. Pretty normal with this firing configuration of the engine, so it's not something that you do not get on other bikes. Although I will say this bike does run a lot hotter than my V-Strom. The V-Strom never ever got above the second mark ever, no matter what temperatures I rode it in. so that may be something that will change in time. Come September, I'll put winter oil in, so there'll be a back end of September. I'll probably go to a 40 grade, 40W10 maybe. It's got the 20W50 in at the moment, and the only reason I've got the 20W50 in this, there's lots of negative remarks on different channels on Facebook, YouTube, and people saying we've had 40 plus regularly here where we are in the hills in Morthia, and Voge do recommend that when it's going to go over high 30s. And I know I'm not stupid, I know that the 50 rating is the warm rating, so a 5W50, when it's hot the oil, it's going to be the same as a 20W50, but it's when you start the engine you want the protection. So when it's really warm weather and you've got 35 to 40 degrees and you're starting your engine, the engine oil is quite loose and not so viscous. If it's a low first rated number like a 5W, will be more runny than a 20W, and the first couple of minutes when you're getting the engine around the oil, it's soon going to warm up to the same grade as any 50 grade, but the first couple of minutes, and I always let this bike warm up, so I start it up, I leave it ticking over till I'm past the first or second notch on the screen before I drive off. So for me it's just engine protection in the early kilometres. Once I get to 5,000 kilometres I may not put such a viscous oil in there, so it should be okay by then. So guys, we'll get out on a run and I'll talk a bit more about how it rides and how it handles, and I'll catch you later on in this video. So guys, out and about on the Voge 900 DSX, trying to avoid sand on the road and wagons and potholes, but yeah, all in all very good. So following on from my 3,000 kilometre review that I was doing before, how does she handle on the road? Well, on the road she turns in really quick into the corners. These roads are really severely undulating, there's dips and bumps and all sorts in it. A lot of sand on the corners, you've got to watch stones there, so it's a wide turn on that one. The only thing I would say on our particular roads that I'm riding on at the moment, with a lot of sand and gravel and chippings and shale on the road, is the Pirelli Scorpion tyres would be better upgraded to something a bit more intermediate. Often you find, no matter what you're riding on, especially if it's got more road-based orientated tyres, that if you hit a bit of shale or a bit of sand, you lose traction for a few seconds. Certainly if it's only a short bit of sand, as soon as the bike hits tarmac again, you regain traction. But the ABS tends to help a bit, but the back end still steps out of touch if you hit sand, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, that's the only thing for these roads I would probably change at some point. I'll put some intermediate tyres on, or even some quite aggressive tyres. I wouldn't really be bothered, providing they're not too noisy on any main road work. Yeah, she handles really good, guys. The gearbox and gear change is positive. You definitely feel the gear changing when you're changing gear, there's no doubt about that. It's not something that you don't realise you've changed gear. There's a definite change feeling to the gears. And she handles around the twisties really, really well. The few times I've had her off-road on trails, the position on the peg standing up is really comfortable. It's a good position. The carpy ride that I've got on the bike at the moment I've had on for a couple of months now, and that's brilliant. Like I said, with Waze, using Waze to navigate, gives you any hazards that are ahead or any information you need to know pops up on the screen, very, very clear and concise. So yeah guys, I would give it a 100% thumbs up if you're thinking of buying one of these. Depends what your reasons for buying an adventure bike are and what type of adventure bike you want. I was looking for something with a bit of a long-leggedness for highway riding, motorway riding, which this fulfills. And I was looking for something definitely to soak up the bumps on these really bad country roads I'm on. And it was something that the V-Strom just couldn't manage without doing a severe upgrade to the front forks and rear suspension. The travel on the V-Strom was limited. It's marketed as an adventure bike, but it's really a road sports adventure bike, the V-Strom, compared to the Voge. This, with its 21-inch front wheel and long travel suspension, is much better suited for what I want. So yeah guys, after 4 months of ownership, I'm really happy with the bike. I'm really happy with the build quality, nothing's come loose. I've seen a few reports on Facebook of the front Brembo brakes coming loose, the caliper, which is absolutely crazy, but it turned out that the concession area or the dealership that the guy bought it from had hurriedly put the bike together. When they're packaged and they arrive, the front wheel isn't located in the front forks, it's separate, so you have to mount the brakes on the front discs yourself, and obviously they'd put it on, tightened them up and not torqued them and marked them off, and they'd come loose and caused a bit of damage to his wheels and a bit of damage to the bike. So immediately after looking at that, I checked all the torque settings on mine and they've all been fine. They're all marked with a usual check pen mark on the nuts and bolts, and yeah, I've had no promises, no faults, it's all been good, no problems I should say. So yeah guys, I would thoroughly recommend the bike. There's none of the early negatives that I had that are really negatives that would stop you buying this bike. The early ones that I pointed out were the throttle jerk, which I don't get anymore, even though I'm still on an old engine map. The changing gear was a bit brutal to start with while it was braking in, but like I've said again, that's pretty good all round now. I ride it sometimes and it's really smooth and really pliable, so it's a nice bike all round to ride and to own. The only thing you've got to watch out for, guys, is the weight. It is a heavy bike, and a lot of these medium to large adventure size bikes are heavy bikes. I think BMW on the Boxer range get away with it a bit more because the Boxer engine has the pistons coming. Just getting some instructions through off ways there, so that's why I paused. Yeah, the Boxer engine, with it being a horizontal engine and the pistons being low down, carries its weight a lot better and a lot lower down than a conventional engine. So that's the only advantage to a big BMW in weight wise over this. Yeah, so 100% recommend it, guys. I've had no problems with it. It's done everything we wanted to do. We've had some long rides out on it and really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the autumnal weather, where we're looking at cooler temperatures. Currently we've got 29, which is quite cool really, it's not too bad. But I'm looking at the mid-20s to enjoy riding a bit more without getting really hot. But yeah guys, 100% recommended. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and stay tuned to the channel. Press that notification bell and you'll get notifications. Whoops, sand there again. Just taking it easy on these bends, guys, because we've had a lot of sand washed down around these roads. So yeah guys, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ride safe, peace out guys.